In this tutorial, I'm going to finish off the printed circuit board. So you can see we've got our circuit board here. We've already set all the settings up in the previous tutorial under route, current auto router, the auto router setup, and the route setup. So now it's time to do is actually make the circuit board. So what I'm going to do is start moving all the parts closer. Okay, and as I move the parts closer, what I'm paying attention to is you can see that the two reds highlight. That means that those are eventually going to connect up. If I do the LED, you can see that that side of the LED lights is closer to the resistor, and I'm going to move that closer. And I'm just going to slowly move these in, to see what the best kind of setup might be. These ones here, you can see that one goes there, that's there. I'm going to spin that so they're away from each other or close to each other, and I'm just going to move these last couple in a bit closer, spin that a bit. Okay, this resistor, I'm going to spin it. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so move it in a bit closer. Let's just see what happens on this first round. So I can either come here for run auto router or under route. You go run auto router either way, and you can see I've done this and I got lots of errors here. Okay, so I'm going to undo this a bit. And what I'm going to do maybe is just move a couple of these around. So I'm going to take this guy, spin it, and let's take this switch, we'll spin it, and let's just see what happens now. So we wrote it, and there you go, it works this time. Okay, so there's my little circuit board. The problem is that the parts are all farther away, so I want to keep them closer. The smaller the circuit board, the better. So one of the things I'm going to do is go to View, and under View, Layer Display, I'm going to change it to all layers. And what that does, it kind of lets me highlight stuff. Okay, and you can see it better. And the other thing is over here, the plane layer, I'm going to go to the bottom because I want to work from the bottom. And you can see now I can actually highlight these traces. Okay, so I can take the part and I can slowly move the part in. Okay, and I can move things around. So that's one way of doing stuff. But you got to pay attention to where these things are moving. Okay, so I could also take one of these ones. I could right mouse click and I can go unroot trace. What it does is undoes it, and then I can move a part a bit closer. Okay, let's say. All right, so let's just keep it there, and then I can hit route again and it will reroute it, if that makes sense to you. Right? So we're going to move a couple pieces a bit closer in. Maybe I'm going to move this one in a bit. Okay, and I'm going to take this resistor, and you see how it points out so far? Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to unroute trace, and I'm going to take this one. Oh no, I don't have to do that one. Take this, and I'm going to spin it like this, and I'm going to move it like this. Okay, and then when I move this guy, can come in. You can see I'm just doing this to show you how you can use this program, and then I can reroute it, and then there's my LED done. Right, so you can move this around any way you want. Okay, eventually what you're going to do is you're going to end up getting a nice little circuit board that's going to be done, but that's basically it. Right, and there's my little circuit board, and this border, you can see how it's too big now. I can go to Object, and I can go Delete Board, and then I can just route again. Okay, now one last thing I'm going to show you is this. If I go and put this guy over top like that, you can see how they're touching now, and I route, watch what happens. You see the little circle here? It's telling me that there's an error, right? And that's that built-in distance that we set earlier. So again, if I get it a bit too close, I won't make it touch. Route it. No, that's fine. Okay. So you want to keep it, this distance here is quite small, so we just want to keep everything farther apart. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, so there's this finish on my circuit board, let's say. And now what I want to do is print it. So I just go to File, I go to Preview, and then here's the page. If I take the scale down to 75%, there's this little move board arrows, and I can then move this around the page where I want it. So the special piece of paper you'll eventually get, I'm actually going to want you to move it to certain places, so we use the paper over and over again. Right? If I wanted to get rid of the board, I can just come up to current the objects and turn the board off, and again I can move it around. Right? And then the final stage would be to hit print, and there's a special printer called circuit board printer, but because I am not hooked up to the school right now with it, it's not in here, but it would say circuit board printer in there. Okay, and you'd print to it. And that is basically the end of the tutorial on how to make a circuit board and get it to be ready to be printed. Thank you.